and welcome to my art update podcast thingy. Just the usual prologue here. The purpose of the podcast is to update people who know me. Andrew Woolner about what's been going on creatively for me over the last week. If you don't know me and you've never heard of me, you might not find this podcast very interesting. You're welcome to listen, but forewarned is forearmed. Not sure why the number of arms has anything to do with that. But anyway, moving on. If this is your first update and you haven't been keeping up with me over the years, I suggest checking out update number 1 to bring yourself up to date before jumping back here. So, I don't know why on this thing that I can't get the sound the way I want it, the way I like it. I've been trying a different interface, and I've turned the gain on the mic preamp way down this week, so maybe it'll sound better when it plays back. Anyway, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I probably need someone to help me with that. I probably need more time to focus on that, which I don't have right now. So this week, I wanted to deep dive into some art stuff, but I think I'm going to have to satisfy myself with giving just the general updates in this post-production week, because in 30 minutes, I have got to run off to a meeting thingy. Yeah, that wasn't planned until, I was told about this yesterday. So, updates. Jekyll and Hyde showcase, as usual. I found myself totally overloaded. I mean, this is going to be probably a recurring theme on this podcast and my life. But yeah, I was totally overloaded. I was just, I was wearing too many hats. We were even more short-staffed than usual, if that's possible. And I was on stage for this showcase, so that was, that was tricky. If you want to see this thing, by the way, ytg.jp, just go through, click through to the shows section and the Jekyll and Hyde showcase, and you can still get cheap tickets. If you need free tickets, just get in touch with me. I will give those to you. So yeah, you'll be watching the recording of the final presentation. Let me know if you have trouble with that. Anyway, Marie Han, who is one of the other 3 people working with me on that show, she was a huge help. As I mentioned, she flew in from Germany just a couple of weeks before we went up, and yeah, enormous help, because she actually took on a bunch of stuff. But it's still, I was still doing way too much. As usual, I didn't have enough time to both finish the show and do the heavy promotion that the show probably needed. For instance, I was the one programming Isadora and the lighting console. We found a couple of techs last minute. Matthew Black and Riona Magaya jumped in, and Richard Schwartz jumped in to handle some of the technical stuff. Matthew basically learned all the cues in a few hours, but I was the one who had to essentially program everything. And Isadora it's an amazing piece of software, and I want to work more with it, but it's a lot more complex than something like QLab, which is designed primarily for queuing. Isadora is sort of this multi-purpose monster, and there are some definite quirks, and you have to really think about how to set up each scene, essentially. You have to kind of do a lot of thinking before you start, in terms of how the logic is going to run. And you have to make those decisions early on, which I didn't, because I was in a rush and I was just programming things. So, I didn't do any all-nighters this time, which is a first. I pulled my first all-nighter in 2019 in all my time at YTG on Antigone, and I've been doing at least one all-nighter for every show since. And I didn't do an all-nighter for this one. I did a couple of late nights, last trains, but I managed to avoid pulling an all-nighter right before the show. I was still, 3 hours sleep, 2.5 hours sleep, but that was better than 0 hours sleep. And given that I was performing, that was a big deal. Anyway, but it was kind of worth it. The visuals were pretty stunning, given the low budget and the small amount of time we had to work on those visuals. That was some of the feedback we got. And yeah, I hope to be able to spend some time in the theater before the end of May, when the summer interns arrive, to play with other possibilities. I want to experiment with things like floor projection, interactivity, because Isadora allows you to get input from various sources, microphones, cameras, whatever, temperature sensors, anything I can think of probably. It allows you to get input from those and have that affect the show. I might even, if the budget can squeeze it in, I might even buy a third projector, but I'm not sure I can run that off the same computer, so that would be a problem. I will need to test if I can run a third monitor, essentially. Okay, yeah, we had really low audience turnout, though. As I said, I wasn't able to do a lot of promotion because I was focusing on programming the show and other show-related stuff. Even online, the turnout was kind of low, but we did have great feedback sessions, and that's really what the showcase is for, is to try to get us that feedback that we needed. Some real food for thought in those feedback sessions. Yeah, there were some complaints about some of the video sources looking like stock photos, because they were, and of course, those were the ones I delegated. So that'll teach me to delegate and let somebody else do some of the work, right? Anyway, I'm still processing the whole thing. We haven't done a post-mortem yet. One of the pieces of feedback we got from my friend Johan in particular was that the show was too good. What he meant, though, is not that it was too good. It was that it looked too much like a real show and less like a showcase. And so people were responding to it and giving critiques based on the fact that it looked like it was a complete show. So they were, like, oh, this one scene, it didn't seem to fit. And it's like, no, it didn't. We kind of sort of put it in there at an opportune moment. But unlike last year's showcase, we didn't sort of run blocks of scenes or single scenes and then reset for another one and stop and make commentary in the middle or whatever. It actually ran all the way through like a show, which, last year people were confused about, in terms of their feedback, they gave feedback as if it was supposed to be a coherent whole. And this year it was, I guess not, I don't, confusing is the wrong word, but it was more, they were more able to consume it as a finished product when it wasn't meant to be. And so some of the feedback we got from that was along those lines. But in general, really good feedback. And I'm hoping I'm hoping that'll really give us a solid base going into the summer show. Anyway, yeah, feeling pretty burnt out, and this week I've been scrambling to catch up with everything, and it's probably going to be all of April, because April's already shaping up to be kind of busy. So I guess I'm not quite into other updates yet. I need to start wrangling the interns for the summer. So yeah, I've got a bunch of people coming, but I'm kind of scattered in terms of when their arrival dates are, and I need to get them all into some kind of like spreadsheet or something so I can start managing them and getting them all onto some kind of mailing list so I can communicate with all of them at the same time. From April 10th, I will have 4 interns that I can use. I've got interns who are here. 2 of them will be here until the end of the show in August, and 2 of them are only here for like 6 to 10 weeks, so they won't be here for the show in August, and they'll mostly be here to help out with stuff in April. Yeah, but I will have 4 interns that I can use to try to help me get through some of the admin. I need to at some point, maybe early next week, list all the projects and see what people can help with, what these interns can help with, or what they're able or willing to help with. And I actually think possibly wrangling the summer interns is one of those jobs. Okay, so now I'm moving solidly into other updates. Oh, this is still a little bit YTG. I had a chat with Tanya Raman from Taika Box in Finland about doing a live show performed simultaneously with an artist here and with her in Finland. They've been doing this actually across Europe right now, and this will be the first version of the show that'll be performed in Asia. So I still need to set up a meeting with her and Yanomi Shoshins, who is, well, better known as Miss Hiccup. You can look that up. She's pretty fantastic, but it really needs to be a Japanese performer, and so she's obviously the first person who came to mind. We need to look for funding sources for that, because that is not something I think just run by myself out of the World Peace Theater. Photography. I've got my Sakura shoot tomorrow, and so I need to head out to scout the shoot area today to make sure there's still blossoms, because the cherry blossoms are really fading. We've had for those of you who don't live in Japan, we've had very rainy and a little bit windy weather since the peak of the cherry blossoms, actually mostly through the entire cherry blossom couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm really hoping the areas are still blossoming. If not, I'll have to use my fallback area, which is further away, which is difficult because the family has young kids. Yeah, so the Netflix project I'm working on is moving forward. There's some challenges as I've been hired to replace another actor, and I wasn't told why he was replaced, but I have to match his performance because he did the mocap stuff and they recorded some scratch vocals as they did that. And I need to match like the lips basically, but I don't know what about the performance that he did that they didn't like and thought he needed replacing. So yeah, that's a stress thing, but I'm also kind of keen to get into the recording studio and actually do that. They're doing this. Yeah. I can't talk too much about that, but yes, I'll just leave it there. When this is released, I'll be looking forward to actually talking about this and the process and stuff. But yeah, I'm actually in a big cash flow crunch right now, as the Netflix job isn't going to pay out until the end of May at the earliest. And actually, they pay really fast. They're this is not Netflix, this is the production company I'm working with. That's really rare in this sector for companies to pay out like within the month. But yeah, regardless, I'm going to be scrambling this month and the beginning of next month to sort of make ends meet. So that's yay. Finishing my taxes, that's still delayed because I haven't had time to work on it. I need to do some other financial stuff so that I can get the money that I'm owed from the Jekyll and Hyde production into my account, from the YTG account. So all other work is kind of delayed. Hammy, my kid, is out of school until next Friday, and I had 1 day with him this week on Monday, but I want to spend at least 2 days, maybe 3 with him next week before he goes back, just because, I want to be able to spend some time with him. The week after next, I go into the recording studio, as I mentioned, and the 2 new interns arrive, so that's going to be really busy. Again, I'm just feeling really, really, really overloaded. I will try to get back to an earlier in the week schedule for this recording, but it's going to be a struggle given the schedule of the next week or so. But it is important to me to get this out at least once a week because I need something that I can work on, that I can consistently finish, and I don't have to worry about it being perfect. I just have to worry about it being done. So yeah, that's the update for this week. And that's it. I'm just going to leave it there. I'll talk to you next week. Andrew out.